Hi, I'm Shelley Wood. You might know me from shelleywood.com. This is my tiny sewing room where I make doll clothes sewing videos. Today, I'm going to show you how to make a pretty little top with a square neckline and lace and rickrack trim at the edges of sleeves and at the bottom of the doll's shirt. This pattern should fit dolls that are 14 inches tall to 18 inches tall, which is 35 centimeters to 45 centimeters tall. But before we begin, you'll need to go to shelleywood.com to download my 2 free printable sewing patterns. You'll find a helpful link in the description below this video on YouTube. Use the pattern to cut out 4 shirt backs, 2 square neck shirt fronts, and 2 sleeves using the sleeve pattern labeled A. Lay one of your backs on top of a shirt front like you see me doing here. Now, if necessary, you'll want to keep right sides together. Sew across the shoulder seam. I recommend thread that matches your fabric. Follow the same steps for the other back, so you lay it across the front, right sides together, and then sew across the shoulder seam. I'm using pink thread just to help you see it. Now, one bodice is ready, but you still need to do a second one. And once again, keep right sides together, lay a back across a front, sew across the shoulder seam, lay the other back across the front, right sides together, sew across the shoulder seam as we did before. And I would be using yellow thread. Now you have 2 bodices. You're going to open them up and press the shoulder seams like you see here. Lay one bodice on top of the other, keeping those right sides together. Sew the 2 bodices to each other, starting at the center of the square neckline. And then you'll round that corner, stitch around the shoulder to the back, and then down the back, and you'll want to end right where the side would be. Here you see me doing that. Be very careful on that square neckline that you give it a nice tight stitch. Now finish sewing the neck to back along the other side, starting at the neck where you left off and ending again where the side seam will be. And once again, it's important to give it a nice corner on the neckline to make that square neckline look good. Clip all your seams so far. Please note that I also clip my corners. You'll see me clipping corners at every corner to give it a nice tight invert. And when you clip your seams, you don't want to go through the thread line. Invert the garment, and I have a quick clip to show you that I'm doing that. I like to use a chopstick to get those corners tight. Press all seams. Okay, now we're going to work with the sleeves for a moment. You're going to create a double fold hem by folding once and then a second time. Now I tend to use a whip stitch for hems. Here I am folding once and then a second time, but you could use a sewing machine. When I do a whip stitch, I start by inserting my needle into that hem so that I kind of bury the knot from my thread so it's not visible. Use a whip stitch or sewing machine to hem, and you'll want to, well, if you look in the description below this video, you'll see a little tutorial on that. But hem both sleeves. And to create that scalloped edge, you're going to measure your rickrack and cut it to fit your sleeve. A little bit of overhang doesn't hurt. And then stitch it to the hem on the wrong side, so you're actually doing it on the hem side. I did 2 rows of stitching with a brighter yellow. We call that top stitching. Follow these directions for both sleeves, and you'll see me doing that here, and I do a second one because this is a nice double top stitch. Now on the wrong side again, you're going to measure a swatch of lace to fit the sleeve. Cut it to fit and stitch it to the rickrack. Follow these directions for both sleeves. With right sides facing, you're going to lay one of your sleeves against the bodice front, and then sew from the underarm to 1 centimeter shy of the shoulder seam. We're attaching the sleeve to the bodice now. Tie your knot at that 1 centimeter shy point. Flip the sleeve around and attach it from the underarm, once again sewing until you get 1 centimeter shy of the shoulder seam. Now your garment should look like you see in this little video clip. So I'm showing you that I have sewn from the underarm to 1 centimeter shy, but the sleeve is not fully attached. It's got an opening at the shoulder. You're going to gather the top part of the sleeve, making sure your gathers are the same length as the shoulder seam area on the bodice. Then attach the sleeve to the bodice's shoulder seam. Here's what I mean. So I've kind of got a video showing me I'm finishing up underarm, stopping 1 centimeter shy. There's that gap. Now I'm going to flip it around and do my gathers at the top of the sleeve. It's not attached though. And then I even out the gathers so they're the same length as the shoulder. And now I attach the sleeve to the shoulder. Follow these directions for both your sleeves. Turn the garment over so you're looking at the right side of the garment, and then you're going to fold one of the backs over to meet with the front. So we fold it, kind of bending it at the sleeve until back and front meet up. Stitch from the edge of the lace, which is kind of the edge of your sleeve, to the underarm and then down the side, but you want to stop stitching 1.5 centimeters from that finalized edge at the back. So you can see I'm going to follow the same steps for the other side. I'm going to fold it in half and stop shy of the edge. Create a whip stitch hem at your front by folding the raw edges inside the front like you see in this little video clip. So there's my back. I put my fingers in between the front pieces and I fold those in, and then I start a whip stitch inside, and you fold it and then whip stitch the front edge closed. You can see me doing that here. If you need help with the whip stitch, I have a whip stitch tutorial in my description under the video on YouTube. So if you're not sure how to do whip stitch, you could look for that video. Okay, now you're going to finish sewing those side seams, so both sides from where you left off until you get to that nice clean bottom of the garment where you've got a finished edge. Open each of these side seams up and press. Now your garment looks kind of like this. You're going to attach rickrack to the wrong side. That's the side that has the pressed seams, leaving a slight overhang of extra rickrack on both sides of the garment. Maybe an inch of extra rickrack, or at least 1.5 centimeters. And notice I'm doing that here. Then you attach lace the same way on the same side, leaving a slight overhang on both sides. Again, we're attaching that to the rickrack. It looks nice if you create that same double stitch of top stitching that you did for the sleeves if you did top stitching. Attach the lace directly to the rickrack, giving it that extra overhang on both sides. Now your garment looks like this. you're going to fold the lace and rickrack inside the garment with first one fold and then a second fold. And use that whip stitch along the edges of the lace to hide the lace and rickrack's raw edges toward the inside of the garment. Do this on both sides of the shirt and then invert the shirt. And again, I use a chopstick if I need help, but this is pretty simple to invert. And it really looks pretty with that rickrack trim and the lace. That gives it a nice scalloped edge. Measure some Velcro to fit the fabric part of the closure area, not the lace. Cut it to fit and stitch each piece to your back, just like you see me doing here. I'm using a soft Velcro. And now you're ready to try it on the doll. For more free printable sewing patterns to fit dolls of many shapes and all different sizes, remember to visit shelleywood.com. Well, that's all I have for you today. Thanks for watching. If you like my videos and free patterns, please share them on your favorite social media platforms. It helps my website grow if you spread the word. Goodbye.